Welcome to episode 460 of the Barcelona podcast, brought to you by the Blue Wire Podcast Network. I'm Dan Hilton, and it is with great pleasure that I introduce you to the show, Alex Delmas, former footballer turned analyst for eSport 3, Gold TV, La Vanguardia, Radio, and so many other places. So, Alex, thank you so much for somehow taking the time fitting me in your schedule.
Hi Dan, thanks to you. The pleasure is mine to be here with you and all of the people.
Yeah, well, before we dive into Barcelona's 2-1 loss to Rayo Vallecano, there are two other quick pieces of news to discuss that affect, both of us, I'd say pretty heavily, and it's good and bad. So let's start with the bad news. BarçaTV will be ending on June 30th, laying off 120 people, including people who have been on the show, including Diego Larin and some others that we may know in the short-term future who've been on the show in the past. And the reason that has been given is that the club is trying to save money for financial fair play. We do know that. And estimates are that by getting rid of BarçaTV as it is, it could save around 8 million euros. Who knows about that? So having worked with the BarçaTV crew, myself personally, for about a year and a half, both the talent and then the behind the scenes people, but this again was me on a computer talking to them over the computer, over video and webcams and stuff. I still say it's really sad news, really unfortunate news for all those people. And I would also say too, disappointingly, instead of building on their content library and adding, additional youth league games and different special content, for BarçaTV subscribers, Kool-Aid's instead could be losing all those Barca terrific archived videos and things from the past that help you connect with the Barcelona history. And people who've listened to the show know that Barca history is something that I spent a lot of my time focusing on and caring about. So losing that resource is really frustrating. But more than that, again, Alex, talented people are no longer associated with the club. And I think that's the biggest shame. So I know you're affiliated with BarçaTV, and I know you agree that it's just sad news today.
Yes, well, thank you very much for your words. This is just a very sad news, in my opinion. I agree with that. Because of Barça TV, it's I mean that it's a part of the club. No, I feel as this, and all of the matches about the young players of Barca, all of the I don't know girls football
Yeah.
information, all of the broadcasts, all of the shows. I think that is a sad news because Barca is a little bit less Barca today than 1 week ago. No, I think that it's not a good movement. It's not a good action because of Barca. All of us, we know that are not in the best economical position, but I don't think that to close Barça TV it is the solution of all the problems. I think that the part of the total money of Barça or total economic problem of Barça TV is a very low part of it. So I think that it's not a good action. I think that it's a sad news, not for Barça TV only, if not of the Barca supporters, of the all the people that really love Barca. So, well, it is until the end of the season, but we hope that in that period the club could consider this action.
Yeah, I hope they do something else new. Whether it's something with archive footage again and have a place for that you have access to for Kool-Aids, and then eventually rebuilding again, like losing even the little things to get to know the players, the cooking shows, all those little things. Barca players are very secretive anyway, because when they're such big famous people, we don't know much about them. So those kind of little things help you get to know the players. And so losing that just makes them feel even more robot and inaccessible. And I don't think it's good for anybody. But on a brighter note, good news. In front of more than 72,000 people at the Camp Nou today, the Barça Femení, via another goal from Caroline Graham-Hansen, drew Chelsea 1-1 in the second leg of the Champions League semifinals, and now moving on to their fourth final in 5 years and third straight Champions League final. Alexis Putellas made the bench, but understandably didn't see the field because it was that second half was a nasty, nasty affair. A lot of kicking, a lot of fouls, a lot of stuff like that. And Claudia Pina could be fit in time for the final as well, but did not play in this one. But even without them, and I've said it a bunch of times so far, Alex, this year, teams are getting wise to Barça. Teams are catching up to Barcelona, and Chelsea definitely made them suffer. They made them suffer over and over again in that game. But if Caroline Graham-Hansen is fit and healthy, the Femení can have the best player in the Champions League final, and they can win that trophy.
Yes, after the sad news of the day, we have the great news of the day that it's that match and that this final, this final that will play Barça. I think that it was a great performance of both teams. Very good level of Barça, very good level also of Chelsea. It really improved this team. Respect the final that Barça wins against them. Then the recovery of Alexia, it is a great news and emotional news that it will be important for the team. I think that Barça, this is another final, and this is the third final in 3 years, I think. So it is very difficult to do this in whatever in all conditions. So to win in football, we said that to continue winning, it's much more difficult than to win one time. So that Barça with Jonathan Giraldez, with Luis Cortés, with all the players that remaining in the club, but with new players, are winning and are achieving final champion final. We will see, but I am very optimistic with this team because I think that it's better team today or this season than the previous season. I think that Jonathan Giraldez has improving new things. It is a team nowadays that are doing more things and better than previous season, and it is a lot because the level of the team, it was already very high. So I'm very optimistic, and I think that Barça will compete the final, and I think that at the end we'll win it.
Well, it is on Monday, Arsenal versus Wolfsburg to figure out who the opponent will be. So Barcelona Femení are just going to have to wait around and watch that game. But as we mentioned, yes, I think to that point, other teams I mentioned, so final thing about the Femení, other teams I've said have caught up to them. And I think people watch today's game and say, why didn't they win 4-1 or 5-0, or why didn't they dominate their opposition like they're supposed to? But it doesn't happen in women's football anymore. A lot of teams have a lot of talent, including Chelsea women, who are also better than they were when they lost 4-0 in the final to Barcelona. But the Femení this season, while Aswala, I don't think she's in her best form, the team can get goals from a lot of different places, including Raffo playing as a left back. And as you mentioned, I think the team is just so much more versatile. Mappy Leon is in great form. Paredes makes that back line better than it was in the last final. And I mean, if Lucy Bronze, while she'll be out for probably the remainder of the season, I mean, she also reinforces team, as did Kiara Wall. So I think just overall, the depth of the team is better. Then you have Vicky Lopez and other young players coming up through the pipeline as well. So it's just the project is more evolved than it was, certainly, and they're deserving of that. All right, switching now for the rest of the show. It's Barcelona, first team, the men's version. They lost 2-1 to Rayo Vallecano, unfortunately, yesterday. A bit of I'd say a stinker of a match. But fortunately, the good news for Barcelona is that Tati Castellanos, the guy, again, I touted at the beginning of the season. I saw him in person here in New York. I was like, I think that guy is going to do just fine in the middle of the table in the Liga for Girona. Hits 4 past Real Madrid. That meant that Barcelona started the day 11 points up in the table, and they were going to end the day at worst 11 points up in the table, which is what happened. And again, the good news, as I said, for Barcelona is that they're done with another match day. So another match day is finished, and because Real Madrid dropped points, Barcelona still have 11 points in the table. But the bad news for that, Alex, is that Barcelona, for the last 4 years, have not been able to figure out Vallecano. Xavi cannot figure out Iriola and what that guy has in his brain on the sideline. Another guy that I saw manage here in the States. And they have not beaten Rayo even in 2 years twice falling 1-0, and the one earlier 0-0 draw this season, and then the 2-1 loss yesterday. Why can Xavi not seem to figure out Rayo Vallecano?
I think that, well, the problem is, as you said, the problem is not the timetable or the table, because these 11 points are a huge difference. So La Liga will be for Barça, no doubt of it. The problem is the performance of the team, or the last performance of the team, the sensations, especially in attacking part. No, I think that Barça has decreasing a little bit his strength with the ball, and the new, it was that in against Rayo, the performance without the ball in the defensive part, it was also no good. I think that Barça has too much loses of ball against Rayo. Don't play with a control playing of the control of the match. Don't have his own football, and the sensation is that also with Pedri and also with Frankie de Jong, that we could think that these two players will make a better performance of the play of the team. It was not. So this is not a good news, because I think that Xavi has to improve different things to make the team going better with the ball. I think that nowadays Barça is a little bit, or I don't know how to say exactly, but
you can say it in Spanish, and we can go from there if you'd like.
Yeah, the opponents expect a thing of Barça that then happen in the field. No, I think that the attack of the Barça, it's nowadays not I don't know how, not surprising for the opponents. No, so we will see if Dembele will change some things. I hope so, but I have that Xavi have to improve, especially in the attack pass. Also, I think Dan, that this Barça is much better than the Barça of the last season and the Barça of the previous season, because of the things that are not clear at our age. As I think, I think that the defensive help of the players are much better now. The position of all the players are more better now than previous season. I think that the the defensive performance in the opponent field is much more better. So Barça is the team of the La Liga with much recoveries abroad of the Ter Stegen and in the opponent field. So there are several things that are better, and this is a good work of Xavi. But in the end of the field, in the end part of what the players or the ex-players we normally say, the third part of the field, there are some problems that Xavi have to improve, and also the players have to improve. I think it's the worst part of this Barça, and this feeling that all of us have, that the Barça is in the same point that, I don't know, 3 months ago with the ball in this part of field.
Yeah, that was the criticism I heard the most, that this Barcelona has made no improvement since February, or no improvement since they won the Spanish Super Cup, and that's been really frustrating, that it feels like the team is getting worse from that moment. And actually, about the ball, losing the ball, you had the stat there. Barcelona lost the ball 42 times by the 25th minute of that game. That's almost 2 times per minute. And Rayo had 6 of those recovered in Barcelona's half of the field. And, when we talk about what Barca did wrong or what Rayo did right, I do want to give a bit of credit to Rayo Vallecano in ways that I felt like against Getafe. Getafe was 0-0, Girona was 0-0, but I felt like Barcelona should have felt like they should have had 3 points against Getafe. While against Girona, we saw how good Girona can be. I think 0-0 felt more fair in that match. And for this match, I give credit to Rayo Vallecano because they won the second ball. They were in that low block. They were cutting out space in the middle of the field, not allowing any balls of passages of play through the middle of the field. And then they kind of did the same thing every time. They would retreat into their hole, into their shell like a turtle, and then they would knock those through balls, to the flanks. And with Palazón being where he was, it was pinning Balde back and not allowing Balde to get forward on the left wing. And that was so important because Barcelona want to play in that 3-2-5 in build-up. But one, without Busquets as your pivot in that 3-2-5, you don't have as many of those long balls successfully going forward because he is the best long ball passer on the team. But you also, again, don't have Balde in that 3-2-5 getting forward up on the left. So you're kind of stuck in that 4-3-3, dealing with those counterattacks and basically playing counterattacking football yourself. So to me, Areola and Rayo got Xavi to play the way they wanted instead of Xavi making them play the way that he wanted Barcelona to play. And I think that was, again, a huge part of what Rayo did right at home. And once that first goal goes in, it was a good goal too. I want to give credit to Rayo. Alvaro Garcia, sure. Ter Stegen could have saved it because it was at the far post. Koundé could have been quicker to step out to it, but I think it was just a good goal. Sometimes, you're an ex-player. Sometimes guys just shoot well, and the ball goes in the back of the net, and it's a good goal. The second goal, though, the Fran Garcia goal, again, not so great. That positionally was my problem. You mentioned Pedri and De Jong, and I actually do want to question that I feel like in that box midfield that Xavi plays, where it's usually Busquets, De Jong, Pedri, and Gavi, where Pedri is on the right side as that high right interior, and Gavi is the left high interior with Busquets in behind on the right and De Jong in on the left. But I felt the way that it was set up by having Ferran Torres tuck in that part of that box when they were trying to in build up in that, as you mentioned, the final third, as they were trying to build up with possession in their, again, Rayo's third of the defensive third of the field. It felt like De Jong was on the right as Busquets. Pedri was where De Jong usually is on the left. Ferran Torres had to be Gavi, and Gavi had to be Pedri. And all of that is because Gavi, in theory, cannot step back or be down below and be that left controller role that De Jong usually does, because then you're asking Pedri to be both De Jong and you can't have him be Pedri. And you're asking Gavi to be Pedri, if that makes any sense. So I'm saying in the box midfield, I felt like no one was where they were most comfortable. Instead, you had 4 different players kind of out of position instead of in his regular, again, when this team has been successful playing with Busquets and De Jong and Pedri and Gavi, you have 4 guys playing roles that they're comfortable in. And I think that was just one of the big problems yesterday, that it just felt like everybody was uncomfortable. Pedri wasn't fully fit. De Jong wasn't fully fit coming back from injury. And all of that showed, especially in those key moments when De Jong not even gave it away, but a long throw in, ball bounces weird, a Rayo player makes a mistake, De Jong is wrong-footed, and then Fran Garcia is off to the races. And then Barcelona's completely out of position for that. And then there was one in the first half that Pedri uncharacteristically gave away. And then, fortunately, Ter Stegen got the save, because that should have been the first goal of the game as well. And just De Jong and Pedri, it's uncharacteristic for them to lose the ball in those spots. And I think just positionally, I don't know, it felt weird. It was like, I want to give credit to Rayo, but in the same way, as you were mentioning, it didn't feel right positionally on the field with those players.
Yes, I agree with several things that you said. Well, first of all, yes, the Barça has a lot of problems to build up to accede to the opponent field because of and I think that the reason it was what I said before, that all the opponents, all the teams, all the people, all of us know what are the way that Barça will arrive to the opponent shooting part, no? So a lot of passes, passes by in the middle, a lot of that. This is the same sequence as many times we have seen. So Rayo did very well to stack the central part, the mid part, because Barça could not progress with Pedri, with Lewandowski, and has to go outside. And when Barça goes outside, it was also a good way of helping ways and all of this. Then this is one reason. And for that reason, I explained and I said before that Xavi has to change things, have to change the way to build up, or not to change, but to put some alternatives, so different ways to do this. This is one part. Then about the goals, I agree that the first goal is a good goal of Álvaro García. Just one thing to say that Koundé, I think that it's not quick, reduce meters against him, and we know that Álvaro García it's a player that when we have some space, he will shot. So Koundé, it was not quick in this action, but it was a good goal. For me, the second goal is not well defended for Barça because the team, it was extremely separate in the middle defenders. The distance between Araujo and Koundé, it was so huge, so great, and it was only 1 second play leaves Fran Garcia in front of Ter Stegen. It could not be in a defensive way. So it was it, and I agree that the several changes in the midfield would limited the team. So for me, it's clear that De Jong has to be the position of 6, but then I prefer Pedri in the high part of the square. No? Also, Gavi, if he don't play as a false winger in the left part, I think that his performance is not so high that in that way. And it was not easy to put a new midfield without Busquets, but I also think, and I agree with you, that maybe it will be or would be a lot of changes, too much changes for the field, for the people, for the team feels comfortable in the field.
Yeah, I want to talk about the back line real quick. Not even real quick, but as kind of the next topic here. Before we do Araujo, I have stuff on him before we do him. But Marcos Alonso, in the big picture. On the show here, we've had, my other guest, Barcelona, has continually said that he hasn't been so bad, but obviously since the day he signed, a lot of Kool-Aids have not liked Marcos Alonso, at least the international audience. I can't speak for those in Catalonia. Maybe you can speak a little more for those in the stadium and things like that. But how would you rate Marcos Alonso's season this year? Because yesterday, again, he had a poor match. It was not a good match. He's had a few bad matches. Manchester United. I feel like every time Christensen is hurt, that's when Alonso has poor matches. But when it's just a rotation match and everybody's healthy and Xavi can pull Alonso at a certain time in the game because of rotation, he's a little bit better. It seems like when he's all on his own and you're missing Christensen is when he's worse. As you mentioned on that second goal, I don't know where he was, but he wasn't where he needed to be. Overall, both yesterday and the season, how do you rate Marcos Alonso?
Well, about Marcos Alonso, I think that the difference between Christensen and him, it's great. It's not the same. For me, Marcos Alonso is a correct defender, but nothing else than this. No, and I think that Christensen is very important for the team, especially with the ball, with the first connection, no, for the build up. People maybe don't know this, but Christensen is the best player doing the first pass of the team. He has more than 93% of good passes in this connection, and his passes are not easy. If not, there are passes that achieve the next line. So this is very important. For me, it's very important the Christensen missing of the team. But the feeling is that I think that today we have the same feeling, and I think that Xavi has the same feeling, that team are in the same point, or even worse, that on the January or something like this. So at your question, that what I expect, or we have to expect from here to the end of the season, I will believe that with Dembele, with Christensen, with Pedri in a good way, that with Xavi working in new things, we will see a performance as the Super Cup, for example. But today it's not the best day to believe in that. I will believe in that. I will believe that Barca uh, will show a best performance that the last month, or the last couple of months. But this is the point. This is the important point, and then to achieve good players, good new players, to have this next step that I think that need Barca nowadays.
Yeah. All right. Two big things I'd say before we wrap this game up here. Ronald Rajo yesterday. I praised him on Monday's show. I had a whole segment where I went off on how great he was against Atletico Madrid, how much he's improved with the ball at his feet, playing out of the back and build up and all those things. And then yesterday, really, really rough. And you had the stat here too. Barca played long balls 62 times when the league, or their average in the league, is 50. They also played 437 short passes when their league average is 541. And once again, very much like what happened in some of those Champions League matches before he got hurt, and sometimes I think over the last few seasons, teams are sitting off of Araujo and saying, you got to be the guy to beat us with your passing. If your passing doesn't beat us, then we have a chance on the counterattack. And Araujo made a bunch of mistakes. Again, that triangle between him and Pedri and Jong with Araujo was not working. And if that triangle you have, as in your central defender, because Alonso was the one coming to the left, if you're center defender, and then your two defensive midfielders, if you will, in build up, if that's not working, then it's not going to work at all. What do you think? Was Rayo doing anything special in that game? Why Araujo would have been so poor against them, but he was so good against Atletico Madrid? Like, what was the difference between what Rayo did to Atletico Madrid, or if anything?
Yes. Well, Araujo is a great defender. It's in the defensive part. It's excellent, more than excellent. But he has problems with the ball to do this first connection, this first pass, as we talk, for example, with Christensen. Rayo did a thing very well, and it was to pressure up Barca, but not all the players, not one by one. They leave Araujo because Barca has to make this first connection with him, with Araujo, and he has a lot of problems in that. For me, it's fantastic. It's a defender for the future. Excellent, more than excellent defender, as I said. But with the ball, when the opponents make this, Barca has problems. So it's one of the points that Xavi and the team has to work in it. No? Then you mentioned my tweet. it was very clear. I don't know if it was exactly the match plan of Barça or match plan of Xavi, or it was the players that make not well decisions, no. But Barça, I think that it was not well with the ball and not well with the decision, because Barça play too much in a large balls and a few short passes. That it's the really strong of Barça. I think that Rayo is a team that wants to play so high, no, and leave so huge space between the the defensive line, that Barça has too much. I don't know how to say. Will would arrive before that the play demands. No, so one pass, two pass, and really to Rafinha, and quick to Lewandowski, and quick to Pedri, and Pedri quick to Rafinha. That it was a problem, and the match became as a box to box, that it's not okay for Barça, because Barça is better than the main of the teams, the other teams, when the match is controlled. If the match becomes a box to box, the strength balance. So Barça is not so high, and I think that it's what it happened yesterday. It happened against Rayo. Barça has to leave this type of context always, and for that reason, the match was better for Rayo than for Barça.
Yeah, I mean, the one time they did combine some passes, Lewandowski and Rafinha, it winds up ending in a goal. I thought Pablo Torre, he's a bit too excited. He needs to calm down a little bit, have just a little bit of calma. But I think with the ball at his feet, he shows you how good he can be. And he and Kessie were pushing forward, advanced positions, and Lewandowski finds the goal, right? And I think that was I think the second half in particular was actually a positive from Lewandowski. It hasn't been good the last few weeks. It's been rough. He's gotten criticism, but Lewandowski was good, not only on the goal, like it was an important finish for him, but I think for Xavi, looking down that bench too, I mean, the bench, not to say it was a problem yesterday, but you had 5 non-first teamers on the bench, including 15-year-old Lamine Yamal, and you're not going to put him in that game. Like, you're not debuting a 15-year-old in that game on the road against that crowd, right, with everything happening in that stadium. The average age of the bench yesterday was 25, but that is skewed heavily by the fact that Jordi Alba is 34, because only he and Kessie were older than 22, because Eric Garcia is 22. So the only options that Xavi had was Kessie, Alba, who picked up a yellow card in the first half, meaning Xavi was like, am I really going to put him in the game with a yellow card? Usually they take the guy with a yellow card out of the game when it's really physical, instead of putting the guy with a yellow card into the game. So I don't think Jordi Alba kind of helped the earlier substitution idea. It kind of took an idea out of Xavi's head. And again, he had 5 non-first team players that he's not going to throw Chadi Riyad or Marc Casado. Obviously, the other two are goalkeepers in Inaki Pena and Ana Tenas, and then Lamine Yamal. Like, you're not going to throw any of those players into the fire like that. That's not fair to those kids, and that's not a good situation for them. So for Lewandowski, had to look over and say, well, you're going to see Ansu, potentially Eric Garcia, and Jordi Alba, Kessie, and then again, Pablo Torre had to be the 5th. And those are the guys that had to come in as the substitutes and figure this one out. But again, I think that Robert Lewandowski, regardless who was on the field, was not great in the first half, but much better in the second half. An important goal for him. So, Alex, Lewandowski, what do you think of the finish? And then for Lewandowski, was that something that he could build on throughout the remainder of this season, or do you think that was just a one-off fortunate goal?
Well, what you said about the bench, yes, this is a problem nowadays for Xavi, because he has not so options, no. But this is in the tactical way, this is a problem nowadays, but it is a strength for the future. One of the best points of Barça is this age average that we talk about it. I think that it is a team that nowadays has a level, or it is in a point, and the improvement distance is very high. No? So this is a good point for me for this type of Barça that has a lot of young talent, and this is a good point. But nowadays, it's true that some matches it's a little bit difficult to to find solutions with so young people. Even it was 15 years old player yesterday, Lamine Yamal in the bench. So it is a problem nowadays. But at the second question you said, what I expect a lot of this team. Not in the recent times, but yes, in the next season or in 2 years vision. Because of that, because Pedri, because Gabi are young talent, because Balde, because there's a lot of players that becoming nowadays as Lamine Yamal, and then there are a huge part of the team that important players as Ter Stegen, as De Jong, as maybe Rafinha, as maybe Dembele, that are in a good age, in a very good age um, to has a little bit the leaders of these young players. So Barça has to improve in that way. It's true that important players as Busquets or Lewandowski will not be in the future or will be in another level, but I am very optimistic in that. I expect a lot of this Barca, and I believe that that Xavi could achieve a better team, and that we will compete for Champions League and with championship with regular performances.
Well, I mean, Lewandowski does have a contract for 3 more years, so we'll see if he's part of the future. I mean, who knows? There might be a little bit of Lewandowski in the future. But anyway, last two little pieces here as we can put that game to bed. Alex, congratulations on Europa getting getting promotion.
Yes.
Yeah, you want to tell people about that?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much. It was important because, well, for the people that don't know this, it was my last team, and it was a team that I finished my career. I was the captain of this club, and this is the third club of Barcelona. It is very important with a lot of supporters here in Barcelona, and it was important because here in Spain there is some. Changes between the the levels, the categories
Yeah,
in
Primera
and
Division, right? There's a new, yeah,
yes, yes, and and it was very important to achieve the next step, especially this year, because there are changes, and if not, Europa will remain in a level that it
fifth
is
tier,
not.
right? And now
Yeah,
they're getting promoted to the fourth tier. Is that
yeah,
that's right? Yeah.
yeah, and it will remain in a level that it's not so high for this potential. No, so it is important. So thank you very much. And yes, I will. I was there, and I have the voice as you said, and a little bit not in the best point for that reason, because the Europa match, it was. Very intensive, and also the Barca match the same.
Yeah, yeah. So I want to also plug over the summertime, I did a history of Catalan football clubs and a reminder that CE Europa were founded in 1907. So they're one of the oldest clubs in Catalonia. Them, I mean,
Yes.
they're way older than even Sabadell. So again, Barcelona, it's been exciting. I know they're owned by Man City, but to have Girona in the La Liga has been great, having another Catalan club there because Espanyol doesn't count. Heck with Espanyol, but Barcelona, Espanyol, and if Espanyol are relegated, I mean, who knows? But again, having Europa back up in the fourth division, and I hope they keep climbing up. Right, as many Barça B, to see Barça B play or Barça Athletic play against as many other Catalan sides as possible is always cool to see. Barcelona, right, and Sabadell and the like. But anyway, last thing, Alex, I have to ask. People want to know more from you, especially our Spanish-speaking listeners. Again, because thank you so much for giving it everything you have in English. But again, Alex is usually a presenter in Spanish and in Catalan. So obviously you could just tell in English how much you know and what your resources as a former professional are. So where can people find your obra, your work, and the different spots that they can find you right now in Spanish, especially?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure for me to talk with you and to talk about Barça. And and sorry for my English level. I did all my best. So I think that it's always interesting to talk about Barça and talk about the tactical analysis and the football things. So really, it has been a pleasure for me then.
Yeah, then where can people find more from you? That's right? It's Cat Radio, La Vendicarita, everywhere. Where is it?
Yes. That's it. And I hope that I can keep in it.
Of course. Yeah, we all do. Again, the BarçaTV stuff scares us. It scares me. If people don't want to care about that stuff, and that's what I would say about BarçaTV as well. If you're as disappointed as we are that it is no more, let the club know. Especially if you're a socio or if you're a Kool-Aid of any kind, or you're subscribed to BarçaTV, let them know that you're disappointed, that you're frustrated. Like the club will have to hear that feedback if you're upset that it's gone. Because I'll be writing an email and saying, I was really sad to hear this. Of course, some of my friends are gone, but I'm sad that you're canceling BarçaTV, because if there's enough desire for it and people want to hear it and listen to it and watch those things, the club will have to figure out how to make it and return it to or sign a new deal with a new TV company, whatever it may be. So anyway, thank you so much to Alex Delmas. Follow him on Twitter and all those places down in the show notes below. And then we're at the Barcelona Pod, everywhere you can find us across social media and the like. So thanks so much for listening to the show. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon. And Forza Barça.
Okay, yes, follow me in the Twitter, please, and will be okay for me. And Forza Barça always.